As a leader in nonprofits, I really believe in early intervention and exposure for all children across New York City and the country that have exposure to architecture and classical architecture in particular, where it all began. And it's wonderful to see that Marymount has embraced this new technique in education.
It was really great for me to be able to get out of the classroom and learn in a more visual way.
Usually I'm teaching grad students, so I have to say it's a completely different can of worms teaching 8th graders, and it was far more interesting and exciting than I ever imagined. These kids are much more articulate than some of the grad students that I work with. The fact that walking around the city streets they were able to translate a lot of the Latin inscriptions and had that sense of knowledge about culture, the city, their knowledge of objects in the Met. Looking at what they're drawing really gave me an insight into who these girls were and what their personalities were like, which is incredibly interesting. But you'd have some girls who would focus on a specific detail, the Doric column capital, the Corinthian column capital. Others would focus on an entire wall of the courtyard at the Met.
You know, when I started teaching in this program, I have to admit, I really didn't know what to expect. But I'd say that within the first 5 minutes, it became pretty evident to me how this was going to go. And it was great. It was because the girls were really engaged.
One of the things I enjoyed about going to the New Heights Architecture Program church tours was seeing the different churches that we visit every week through a different light and seeing all the different architectural components that I hadn't looked at before.
The other thing that I wasn't really sure of going in, but that also became quickly evident, was that these girls had a great education at Marymount. I just can't say enough about that. I was really impressed by a lot of the stuff they knew.
I especially enjoyed the studio classes when the instructors came in and showed us new techniques.
When we were learning about the Met facade, we found out that there were uncarved slabs of stone that never became statues. I was most excited by the hands-on experiences like the plaster casting.
Throughout the semester, we worked on projects relating to architecture for the final showcase.
My partner and I 3D printed a Victorian townhouse, and we used little bits and resistors and soldering irons that we have in the Fab Lab to create a circuit for the light.
We now invite you to come take a look at our projects. We would love to talk to you about our work.